So for any of you younger guys out there, I'm going to fill you in on a little something, kind of a look into the future. And that is, the older you get, the colder you get.
At first glance, Outdoors with the Morgans looks like a peaceful escape. Roaring chainsaws, towering trees, and the quiet rhythm of country life. But behind those calming scenes lies a story most viewers never stop to question. How did an everyday family turn hard manual labor into one of YouTube's most quietly addictive channels? And what does it really take to live the life millions only dream about from their screens? From unexpected sacrifices to the pressure of sharing their world online, there's far more happening beyond the camera than meets the eye. And what you're about to hear might completely change how you see them. What most people don't realize is that Outdoors with the Morgans didn't begin as some carefully planned YouTube success story. It started with a lifestyle Mike and Melissa Morgan were already living long before anyone hit the subscribe button. Deep in rural Pennsylvania, managing wooded land wasn't a weekend hobby. It was simply part of everyday life. Cutting firewood, maintaining trails, operating heavy equipment. These weren't skills they learned for views. They were survival tools for the kind of property that demands constant attention. When the channel first appeared, there was nothing flashy about it. No dramatic editing, no viral gimmicks, just honest work and a camera rolling. And strangely enough, that authenticity is exactly what pulled viewers in. People weren't just watching trees fall or logs stacked neatly into rows. They were watching a version of life that felt real in a world that often doesn't. But building a channel around physical labor comes with a hidden cost. Filming doesn't pause the workload, it doubles it. Every task takes longer, every project requires planning, and the pressure to keep viewers coming back quietly grows. And just as their audience began expanding, something happened that would push their rural lifestyle further than they ever expected. What the camera rarely captures is just how relentless this lifestyle can be. Owning heavily wooded property isn't peaceful the way it looks on screen. It's unpredictable, demanding, and sometimes downright exhausting. One storm can scatter massive trees across trails overnight. A sudden cold stretch can turn routine chores into hours of brutal outdoor labor. And when equipment breaks down, there's no waiting around for someone else to fix it. The responsibility falls squarely on their shoulders. For Mike especially, the physical toll is something longtime viewers have quietly noticed. Operating chainsaws, hauling timber, and managing large machinery day after day isn't just work. It's the kind that wears on you over time. Yet, the videos rarely slow down because consistency is everything on YouTube. Miss uploads and the algorithm doesn't forget. What makes it even more intense is that filming transforms every tough day into a performance. Imagine pushing through fatigue while knowing thousands of people will eventually watch the result. That pressure never fully disappears. Still, the Morgans didn't pull back. Instead, they made a decision that surprised many viewers. A move that would dramatically expand their world and raise the stakes almost overnight. Just when viewers thought they understood the rhythm of the channel, the Morgans made a move that changed everything. They expanded. Purchasing a second property, later known to many fans as Camp Morgan, wasn't just a simple upgrade. It was a bold step into an even more demanding lifestyle. More land meant more trees to clear, more structures to maintain, and a whole new list of projects waiting before the first camera battery was even charged. At first, the new property felt almost magical. Dense forest, untouched ground, and endless potential made it a dream setting for outdoor content. Viewers were instantly hooked on the idea of watching raw land slowly transform into something purposeful. Every visit carried that sense of discovery, like anything could happen out there. But what looked exciting on screen also doubled their responsibilities overnight. Now, they weren't just managing one rugged property. They were balancing two: travel back and forth, planning, larger builds, transporting equipment. The workload quietly multiplied, and with bigger projects came bigger visibility. More viewers arrived, expectations climbed higher, and before long, another shift began. One that had some fans asking whether the channel was starting to change in ways no one anticipated. As the channel continued to grow, something else started appearing more often. Recognizable brands, professional-grade equipment, and tools that most weekend outdoorsmen could only dream about. It was a clear sign that Outdoors with the Morgans had crossed an invisible line from small passion project into serious YouTube territory. With larger audiences comes opportunity. and before long, partnerships naturally followed. For many viewers, this felt like a well-earned milestone. After all, watching a hardworking family gain support seemed like proof that authenticity still wins online. Better equipment also meant safer workflows, smoother projects, and content that was even more satisfying to watch. But not everyone saw it that way. Some longtime followers quietly wondered if sponsorships might influence what made it onto the channel. Were the gear choices always personal, or sometimes promotional? Nothing ever suggested the Morgans weren't being genuine, yet the conversation began popping up in comment sections and forums. It wasn't backlash exactly, more like curiosity mixed with caution, because when a channel rooted in simple living starts looking more polished, people notice. And while those discussions simmered in the background, another debate was gaining traction. One that questioned whether the life on screen was truly as effortless as it sometimes appeared. The more popular the channel became, the more a quiet debate started circling among viewers. Was this rugged lifestyle as raw as it looked, or was there more structure behind the scenes than anyone realized? Some first-time watchers assumed the projects looked almost too organized. Perfect camera angles, neatly stacked timber, machines always ready to go. It created an experience that felt smooth, sometimes even effortless, but longtime followers were quick to push back on that idea. What many people forget is that you're seeing the finished edit, not the not the setbacks, the delays, or the projects that don't go as planned. A single fallen tree can take hours to handle safely, and unpredictable weather can scrap an entire filming schedule. The camera captures the highlight, not always the struggle that came before it. Still, perception matters on the internet. When viewers start forming their own narratives, those opinions can spread fast, whether they're accurate or not. For the Morgans, it meant walking a fine line between producing enjoyable content and staying true to the hardworking image people trusted. Yet behind all the speculation and online chatter, there was one reality few discussed: the personal sacrifices required to keep this life and this channel moving forward. What rarely gets talked about is the personal trade-off that comes with sharing your life online. For Mike and Melissa, this was never just about filming trees or running equipment. It meant opening a window into their daily world while still protecting the parts that matter most. Balancing family, responsibilities, and the constant demand for new content isn't something you clock out from at the end of the day. They're not just creators. They're parents, grandparents, land managers, and planners for projects that often stretch months into the future. Weekends don't always mean rest. Sometimes they mean racing daylight to finish a job before weather rolls in. Even downtime can quietly turn into brainstorming the next video, the next improvement, the next reason for viewers to come back. And with an audience that continues to grow, so does the pressure to deliver. Because once people begin following your journey, expectations naturally rise. Consistency becomes more than a goal. It becomes an unspoken promise. Yet despite the workload, the scrutiny, and the sacrifices, they've continued showing up, camera ready. Which raises a bigger question most viewers never stop to consider. What is it that keeps them going after all these years, when stepping away would probably be the easier choice? So what is it that truly keeps the Morgans going? It isn't just the views, the equipment, or even the steady growth of the channel. At its core, it seems driven by something much deeper. A genuine connection to the land and a lifestyle that can't be faked. Long before the cameras arrived, this was the life they chose, and walking away from it would mean leaving behind a part of who they are. There's also the community they've built along the way. Scroll through the comments and you'll see more than casual viewers. You'll find people who return video after video, sharing advice, encouragement, and sometimes even their own stories. For many, watching the Morgans isn't just entertainment. It's calming, familiar, almost therapeutic in a fast-moving world. And maybe that's the real untold story. In an online space often dominated by noise and trends, they leaned into patience, consistency, and authenticity, and somehow made hard work compelling to millions. Because in the end, Outdoors with the Morgans was never just about cutting wood or clearing trails. It became proof that ordinary lives, built on dedication, can quietly inspire in ways no one expects. When you step back and look at the full picture, the untold story of Outdoors with the Morgans isn't about dramatic headlines or viral controversy. It's about endurance. It's about waking up to work that can't be ignored, facing challenges that don't pause for perfect filming conditions, and choosing to document the journey anyway. What seems calm and simple on the surface is actually built on years of discipline, risk, and relentless effort. Their path also reflects something many people crave but rarely pursue: the courage to build a life outside the expected blueprint. While most only dream about wide open land and self-reliance, the Morgans committed to it fully, even when it meant longer days and heavier responsibilities. And maybe that's why their story resonates. It reminds us that success doesn't always arrive with noise. Sometimes it grows slowly, shaped by consistency and a willingness to keep going when no one is watching. So the next time you see a tree fall or a new trail take shape, remember, you're not just watching outdoor projects unfold. You're witnessing a lifestyle forged through persistence, and a story that's still being written.